Peter Schrager joining us, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. We're not telling you who to vote for. We don't have an opinion. We just look like we're on political coverage today wearing blue and... Oh, look at that! Schrager. Look at this. Everybody in America is going, oh, boy, we're big trouble. Let's start with this. I thought the Packers, with a 37-year-old quarterback in 1 month, should have rolled the dice on Fuller. You tell me, was it close? Were there arguments in the building? What happened?
No, look, the truth of the matter was the Texans weren't willing to trade Fuller for anything short of a first or second round pick, and the Packers just couldn't give away that draft capital. I was surprised the Texans weren't sellers, to be honest. They're a team that's got one win. They have no first or second round draft picks this year, and the Texans also have guys like Stills and Cooks and, of course, Randall Cobb, who used to play with Rodgers in Green Bay. But when it came down to it, the Packers weren't willing to mortgage the future because they feel like Allen Lazard is coming back to the team. He was having a great season before he got injured, and they can win with this receivers group. I think if you watch that game, it wasn't the receivers who cost them the victory in Minnesota. It was the fact that Dalvin Cook is still running and probably has about 700 yards and wouldn't be stopped unless the game just finally ended. So the defense needs to get right, and Will Fuller wasn't going to fix the defense one way or the other. Packers end up staying where they are, keeping their draft picks, and hoping that it's enough with what they've got at the receiver position to get them through the rest of the season.
So I threw this out there. Dallas, I can't see a W on their schedule outside of Thanksgiving, Washington, and I don't think they're winning that game. I don't. I look at that O-line, I look at the Washington football team's D-line, and I'm saying to myself, Jets are the worst team in the league. Jags second. Giants are too good. They'll win games. Giants are getting better every week. They got the right coach. They're going to win a couple games. I think the first couple draft picks are going to be, and I think Jacksonville's going to win a game or two. I think we could go Jets and Dallas. How do they not look at Justin Fields? Jerry's going to be 80 here quick. This is an A-plus prospect, Schrags. 47 touchdowns, 3 picks in 2 years at Ohio State. Don't they have to look at him?
Would you argue that Dak Prescott's value has never been more present or more obvious than this season?
That's right.
With this team completely crumbling. So would you not argue that maybe Dak should get that long-term contract? I've never been a Dak guy. I'm not the one who's always like, pay that man. He deserves more. This team is by far the worst team in the NFC right now. And they're an unwatchable team, which is Jerry Jones's worst nightmare, to be unwatchable. For the fact that Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels are cracking jokes about them live on the broadcast for the entire country to see. That is Jerry's worst scenario. He'd be fine going 2-14 if they were fun and putting up points, but to also be unwatchable is what's troubling. I think Dak's value is more evident now than ever before. So yes, they have to look at the quarterback spot. I also would say with that number 2 overall selection and all the other teams that might need a quarterback, could you trade that pick for a bounty of selections and maybe build around Dak Prescott and just say, you know what, let's pay Dak and let's just have our quarterback? Because here's the other thing, Colin. They don't have offensive linemen. They don't have linebackers, all that stuff. They don't have a leader. Like Amari Cooper has 1 catch, 5 yards, says 7 words in NFL week to week at practice. Like, he's not a talker. Ezekiel Elliott is not a leader. Sean Lee's in and out of the lineup. They don't have a leader. Dak Prescott was a leader, and he lifted all boats. And I think it's obvious now how much they miss Dak. So I'm actually going to go against the grain on this one and say maybe you just pay Dak, you have your quarterback, and you build around him and say, okay, let's fill in all the holes that we're evidently missing this season.
It's a good take. Tua. A story came out. Joy and I had been on this for a while that we thought with Herbert coming out and Burrow looking so good, and with the impatience now in the NFL with the Kyler Murray situation in Arizona, that they got Houston's pick, and Miami's like, listen, we want to watch him for 9 games. If it doesn't work, we got a top 5 pick. We may just move off him. 8 first downs. What's the talk around the league on Tua in that situation in Miami?
To be determined. That was not a Tua win last week. Yes, they won with Tua, and he had a really nice touchdown pass to Parker, but that was one that was Jakeem Grant on a punt return. That was Andrew Van Ginkel returning that fumble all the way. It was defense was fantastic last week, and special teams helped. So the future is in Tua's hands, and I know the owner is very excited about having Tua as his quarterback. I know the fan base is as energized as they have been since maybe the Dan Marino era. And Joy could tell you this better than anybody. When Dolphins fans finally have something to rally around and galvanize, it is an exciting team to follow. I'd say right now it's Tua, but I don't put him in that Burrow conversation. Burrow's been outstanding. Justin Herbert's been marvelous. Tua hasn't shown us anything yet. So the jury is still out. I think this division is very winnable. And if Tua can get that job done, you better believe that number 1 Dolphins jersey will be one of the most highest selling jerseys across the league.
Joe Douglas, we both like him. We both talked to him before. He said, Sam Darnold's my quarterback. I'd like to believe him, but Trevor Lawrence, New York media, he did make a good point. He's like, Darnold's like 23 years old. We haven't given him anything. When he said Sam's our future, did you buy it, or were you a little cynical?
I buy it for now. I don't know. Look, here's the craziest thing about the Jets right now. The first few weeks of the season, the New York tabloids were going nuts. You got to fire Gase. You got to do this. The local radio, you'd listen. When you're not listening to Colin Cowherd, you're listening to the local guys, and they're freaking out. They're losing games now by 20, 30 points. It's not even a ripple. Like, they're not even – people have been apple picking, and now they're Thanksgiving shopping, and now they're talking about the election. Like, the Jets don't even have – any footprint in the sports media landscape, and that is bad. So when you say that Darnold's your future, it's kind of like, all right, at least Trevor Lawrence gives this impression that there's a future that's different than the current. And I know Darnold is not to blame here. I truly don't believe Darnold's the problem. He's got nothing around him, one of the worst offensive lines the last 2 seasons, and just a culture that is in the dumps right now in that building. But it's hard for me to say if they have the number 1 overall pick, they're not going to look long and hard at Trevor Lawrence, who gets Andrew Luck-like comparisons.
Good stuff, buddy. Peter Schrager, wearing blue. I'm wearing blue. Joy's red. We're not making a political statement, I swear to you. It's just what we had available. We're guys. It's what we had available in the closet.
It's all. Look, I'm wearing a fleece sweatshirt here. I'm not John King in a suit and tie making a statement here. Steve Kornacki. No, I'm good.
All right, buddy.
I'm in a closet over here.
Good seeing you, man.
Thanks, Colin.
Schrags. He's one of the most connected guys I've ever met in this business. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.